be Socrates.
We talked about it last
Seniority.
night.
Seniority.
Count them out, Teresa.
Okay. But then. Oh, all right. Okay. It's the only way I know how. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a Socrates by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. My mother told me to choose the very best, so I will choose the best you. Yes!
No. A woman playing Socrates.
Yes.
It would be some kind of a statement. I don't know what kind of statement, but we don't necessarily want to make it.
Okay, you're done with veto shish.
Okay, you want a statement? I'll give you a statement. How's this for a statement? First, let us take it as a given that the good exists independently of our perception of it. Second, I hope we can take it as a given that as good 21st century citizens, we all believe that women have as much access to said good as do men. Therefore, it follows that I would be as good a Socrates as anybody in this room.
She sounds like Socrates.
Well, yeah, let's try it.
Really beat. And here's your hemlock.
We have not yet had our discussion of justice.
Socrates. He's up to his usual games, I suppose, answering nothing himself and only picking holes in what other people say.
My dear friend, how can I possibly answer when I don't know in the first place?
I declare that justice is nothing but the advantage of the stronger. The most perfect injustice makes the unjust man happy, and makes all those who are wronged and will not be unjust miserable.
I see.
But when a man not only steals from other people, but kidnaps and enslaves all citizens, he is called happy and blessed, both by the citizens themselves and all those who hear of the man who committed the whole and perfect injustice.
Talk. It's all just talk. And talk of God, Socrates does not believe in our gods. And how about that hemlock thing, huh?
Hand me the bowl, Anatos.
Wait! Oh,
Now,
my knee!
who are you?
I'm Glaucon!
What do you want?
I want to give a long speech too!
So you do. So you do.
Now let us assume that the justice and injustice are both perfect in the way that they are. This way, the perfectly unjust man, he must perform the perfect injustice and get away with it. He must be able to persuade those who denounce him for his wrongdoings, and he's going to have to be able to use force whenever necessary.
Go on.
Okay, but the perfectly just man, well, he's simple and he's generous, and he doesn't want to seem good. He wants to be good. But let's see if he can perform the perfect injustice and see if he can stay good.
Socrates doesn't believe in our gods, and now he's corrupting the youth.
Hand me the bowl, Anatos.
Wait. Hold the hemlock. I didn't get a chance to be Socrates yet.
It's all yours.
Thank you.
And
Why don't you be Xanthippe, my wife?
So the question is whether or not we should allow comedy and tragedy into our cities or not.
Now you're talking. And we're also going to examine music, melodies, keys, rhythms and songs, musical instruments, and we're going to see which to allow and which to banish from our city. Clifton!
Yes, that is what we should do.
But first of all, we must not allow falsehoods, except for those for whom it's beneficial as a kind of drug. So we'll allow falsehoods to doctors only.
Yes.
And also for the rulers of the city, for when it's necessary to use falsehoods when dealing with enemies or indeed with citizens, if it's for the benefit of the city. What would be next for us to decide? Would it not be which of these guardians are to rule and which to be ruled? We have to prevent these guardians from becoming wealthy or poor.
Why is that, I pray?
Because such a city is really two cities.
Oh,
It's one of the poor and one of the rich, and they are enemies to each other.
of course.
well, I hear you go around preaching that women can be soldiers and guardians and rulers.
Well...
Don't you well me? I'm ready to be a guardian. Ask me the questions.
Okay, I will ask. Don't you understand that the greater is such that it must be greater than something?
I understand that the greater the hunger of our children, it must be greater than your unwillingness to work for money.
No, that is, the greater is such that it must be greater than the less.
Well, the less we have is certainly less than our need.
And the much greater is greater than the much less. Is that not so?
Well, the much greater need is certainly greater than the much less we have in our larder.
And the sometimes greater is greater than the sometimes less, and what would be greater is greater than what would be less.
Well, sometimes the hunger is greater, and sometimes it's less. And it will be greater if you do less. Oh.
How about that hemlock, Socrates?
You know, why don't you be Socrates? I'll just be Glaucon. You can stay out of Mantos.
So I'll be Socrates when he's arguing with his wife, and he's getting ready to drink the poison.
And we are determined not to leave here until you have explained it all.
We are all agreed on this.
Oh, dear me. Dear me. You guys have no idea what a hornet's nest of words you are stirring up. What a debate you are trying to bring about. You know, I saw it coming. I decided to let it pass because I didn't want to start any trouble.
My dear man, trouble is what all these people have come here for.
Even before I hear the words, I know there's treason in them.
I do fear that I might stray away from the truth and bring my friends over me in a heap, but I think that it is a lesser offense to unwittingly kill a man than it is to deprive him of all the things that are good and just in laws and customs.
So wait. So, you're saying that your treasonous words are worse than killing a man?
Mantos, yeah, why don't you just stick to your tannery and stop all this nonsense?
Yeah.
Because we live in dangerous times. We have to monitor every word of such dangerous types. Watch out that you don't get on the list.
The philosophers must become kings, and those who are now kings and potentates, they must learn to seek wisdom like true, genuine philosophers. This way, political power and intellectual wisdom will be combined into one, and the crowds of cronyistic sycophants who now seek highest political office, well, they'll be excluded. And until that time, I do not think that we will know peace in our cities or the entire human race.
You are charged with refusing to acknowledge the gods recognized by the city-state, and for creating new gods, and for corrupting the youth. So, Mr. Pilot Philosopher, what do you propose your penalty should be?
Hello!
You gotta do. First, you gotta turn the cup.
Yeah.
Turn the cup. Right.
There you go.
Good one, Alan. Well, joke's on you because I've been dying to be Socrates. All right.
Still unrepentant, huh? Oh, fine, I'll be back to watch you drink your hemlock.
Don't mind him, friends. Let him not distract us from our inquiry. Besides, I have another parable for you, Adamantos.
Oh, I love these parables.
Imagine mankind as dwelling in an underground cave. Light comes to them from a fire burning behind them, higher up at a distance. We need a fire for this.
I just happen to be the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire! I'll take you to burn! Fire! I'll take you to learn. You've worked hard and you've fought and earned, but now I'm gonna see you burn! Fire!
You gotta
I do it the thing like Bear Grylls. Fire!
Yeah?
Fire! Check those cables. Fire! Fire!
Keep on, keep on.
Yes, yes.
There it is.
Okay, that's enough. It's out of tune and places for the cave.
Between the fire and the prisoners, imagine a road above the level, and along it a low wall has been built. Just as puppet showmen have screens in front of their people over which they work their puppets.
I see.
See then bearers carrying
Bears.
bearers, bearers carrying along this wall all sorts of articles which they hold projecting above the wall. What do you think such people would have seen of themselves and each other except those shadows which the fire cast on the opposite wall of the cave?
Well, I don't see how they could see anything else.
But suppose they could talk together. Don't you think that when they were naming those shadows which they saw passing, they would believe they were naming things?
Oh, yes.
If that's the case, then these people would certainly believe there were no realities except those shadows of handmade things. That leaves just one person.
Who could it be? Eeny, meeny, miny, feet.
Beat.
So much work, so little time.
Unbelievable. The man's at death's door and still passing the poison around.
I think it is my time to go.
Well, I don't. I will miss you.
My dearest Xanthippe, if I have any regrets, it is for leaving you and my sons. But I have to go through this, for the gods must have intended for me to join them now. I think we will meet again in the other world.
That's not good enough for me.
I have said goodbye to my sons yesterday, and now it's time to part with my companion for life. I have always loved you, Xanthippe, and I always will. Bring on the hemlock.
With these words, he put the cup to his lips, quite easy and contented, and drank it up.
Socrates.
Do not forget, the things we see are not what they are. For beautiful things are beautiful by their beauty, and by greatness the great things are great, and by smallness the small things are small.